Most people that I speak to have heard of equity release, but they either think it's a brilliant idea or something to completely avoid. And usually that opinion is based on something that they heard years ago. I'm Carrie Syson, I'm the founder of Your Final Matters, and I help people to get their paperwork and their practical ducks in a row so that their family aren't left trying to figure everything out at the worst possible time. This is part of my equity release and later life planning series, where I break this topic down into simple, practical chunks. And in this episode, I'm focusing on what equity release actually is in plain English, so you can separate the facts from fear. And just to be clear, I'm not giving any financial or legal advice. This is purely to help you understand your options so that you can have better conversations with the right professionals. So let's set the scene. Why does equity release matter? Well, it can be considered by some to be a safe and sensible use of housing wealth to support later life, care, retirement living, and also home adaptations. In the past, equity release has had a really mixed reputation, and older products were often really poorly structured and created real problems for people. They weren't really fit for purpose. And that's where a lot of the fear and skepticism still comes from today. A lot of people are still forming those opinions based on these older stories, which is why this topic can feel quite loaded straight away, and people are very polarized whether they're pro or against it. However, the good news is equity release has had a glow up. The market has changed significantly. There is stronger regulation, clearer safeguards, and much better product design. So it's now actually fit for purpose. There are now industry bodies and rules in place like the Equity Release Council, the Financial Conduct Authority, that didn't exist before, which has changed how these products are designed and sold. And in simple terms, it's had this glow up, and the key now is not avoiding the topic altogether, but instead understanding how it works today, where it can be helpful and where it absolutely isn't the right option. So this isn't about saying it's good or bad, it's about understanding it properly so that you can make an informed decision that's actually right for you. So let's start off. What is equity release? Well, it's a way to access some of the value that's built up in your main home without needing to sell it and without needing to move out. So instead of your money being tied up in your property, you're actually turning some of that into usable cash while you're still living there. And as I say, it's not a new idea. The concept dates back to the 1960s. And these older products were often really poorly designed and sometimes quite toxic and really caused problems for families. The modern products, however, are very different with regulation and with safeguards. And the regulatory and the technical points mean that equity release as a term, in principle, you could release equity at any age if you own a property. So that's like having a mortgage. But technically, releasing equity could include things like remortgaging or downsizing. But that's not what most people are referring to in everyday conversations. In modern practice, the dominant product is something called the lifetime mortgage. In other countries like North America and Australia, similar products are often called something called reverse mortgages, and they're regulated financial products with specific features and protections. And in the UK today, when someone says equity release, this is almost always the type of product that they mean, a lifetime mortgage. So if this has helped you understand what equity release actually is, then you're already ahead of the curve with most people. And this is part of my equity release and later life planning series. So if you've landed on this one first, then that's great. Go on and watch the others so it all starts to make sense as a whole. And if you found this useful, please follow me at Your Final Matters on Instagram or Facebook, and subscribe here on YouTube so that you don't miss the rest of the series. And please share this with someone who might need this conversation. You can visit me on yourfinalmatters.co.uk to find out more about workshops and help that I can give, because while you still have a voice, you have a choice.